For fuck's sake. Sie können sich auch nicht entscheiden, was sie mir alle reinschmeißen.
Was it Justice Hammer 3?
Ja, ich muss die
Maybe Justice Hammer
kill
4.
Hifumi.
Well, whatever it was,
Ja.
there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Murdergear.com/hammertime!
The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers. And, that's about it.
Also, wir haben 3 Dinger. Jetzt können wir alle 3 reinkommen. Das Spotless Hammer. Ich will das keine Reporter, right?
What was used to kill Hifumi?
Ah, okay. Ich probiere es einfach bei allen 3. Ja, sag ich bei dann ist er auch. Ja.
What was used to... Was it just maybe Justice Hammer?
Well, whatever it is, there's one thing. How was the culprit able to move around? How did nobody
Witness
witness them?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance!
Ich bin gerade echt ein bisschen am Überlegen, Sandra.
There's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody witness?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to... Check out murdergear.com!
Well, one thing seems... The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice...
Oh, ja. Ich wusste, eins von den 3 war es, aber... Witness kann es jetzt sein.
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
Ein Hammer bleibt ein Hammer. Ein Hammer kann nichts anderes als ein Hammer sein.
But...
Ja, trotzdem.
Seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer was covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off.
Murder?
I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma Files note about the
Sie haben
wounds being
das als
similar.
Basis für ihn gezeigt genommen. Sicher, dass er nicht einfach nur die Hammer runtergenommen hat, angemalt und dann die benutzt hat. Ja, aber so wie Makoto das gesagt hat, hat er die Hammer selbst gebastelt.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We talk about how there wouldn't be any reasons for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first, but what? Make your argument. Spotless hammer.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that 2 people work together on this.
Impossible?
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were 2 murders.
Oh, ich muss 2 Murders wahrscheinlich. Can you really say there's no chance to this?
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even
Ich glaube,
if
ich
more
muss
than one person
2 Murders und dann noch Impossible, oder?
assuming the rule holds true.
That is.
But that only really applies if there's... In this case, however, there were 2 murders.
Based on the rules, even if more than one person is only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive, assuming the rule holds true.
Ja.
No, that's wrong. Since there were two murders,
Es ist einfach
it's
nur
at least
dumm, ein
plausible that
Spotless
more than
Hammer
one
da zu
person
haben, wenn da
was
steht
involved.
Impossible und Two Murders.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward.
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
Das kommt mir gerade. Wenn du jetzt zwei Leute hast, die sagen, wir arbeiten zusammen. Jeder tötet aber einen anderen. Zum Beispiel Kyoko und Makoto. Makoto tötet Byakuya, Kyoko tötet Toko. Wer kommt dann raus? Weil dann haben wir zwei Bracken, die zwei verschiedene Morde begangen haben. Wenn sie nicht erwischt werden. Was ist? Da hocke ich da und denke mir...
Und dann gibt es dann ein Voting, wen blöder.
Genau.
Und der andere darf bleiben.
Ich meine, Joseph Anderson hat auch im allerletzten Vote für Dingensbumsen gestimmt. It's magic. Jedes einzelne Mal hat er für sie gestimmt. Ja.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
Genau.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
I don't know.
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
The effort made to convince us two murders was the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at
I
this.
understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions and in the end murdered him. In the debates up till now, the way the case has unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. Oh, finally! Das war Sayaka. Taka? Junko? Sakura? Kyoko was? Mondo? Dann war's Aoi. Hagakure? Oh. Jiro? Sie? Zu hässlich, wa? Das war Leon. Mit Toko? Hifumi? Ich meine, es waren zwei Männer. Es ist so hässlich, war der jetzt auch wieder nicht. Wo ist er denn? Da ist er! So hässlich war jetzt auch wieder nicht. Na gut. Ich weiß, wer du bist. Da. Bitteschön. Tschüss.
Here's my answer.
Weg mit dir! Be gone!
It was
Dot!
Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit-brain-fat, lazy, worthless goddamn idiot!
Sie hat ihren Akzent verloren.
Pardonnez-moi.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
There is?
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
It is? What is it the only Hifumi had in common? Encountering the suspicious and the screaming. It's true, both of them did a lot of screaming, but I don't think it's good. Du hast doch noch nicht mal was gesagt und denkst schon, du hast dich verblamiert. Der hat ja noch nicht... Pants? Was haben die mit ihren Unterhosen? Was haben die mit seinen scheiß Unterhosen?
In common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Hallo? Shush.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste
aber macht weiter.
ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Der gibt mir so auf den Zeiger.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
Yep.
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow. Something's moving on the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he had further down to the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Ah! Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Then why don't we split up into two groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I'll leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Byakuya, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
Ah!
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
macht
who
wieder
we
mal
now
drauf.
know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Das ist was für ein Fehler?
Did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
They must really be enjoying this, enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys did.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room.
Weißt du, zu Sakura ist er viel netter. Der hat was gegen Jungs. Ich weiß, weil ich klüger bin
Then
als er.
Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Genau.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get
Dann
what it
sag
means.
nicht, dass du es verstehst, Junge.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said the Celeste comment doesn't make sense, but what is he alluding to? Wieso noch eine Runde? Monokuma 5-3. Warum habe ich Monokuma 5-3, wenn es darum nicht mehr geht?
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Nein? Du wirst den Finger out. Ah, so strange auf Celeste comment, oder? Ich hab nicht mehr viel.
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die. And that is.
And that's all it takes to... What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
So strange. Und dann those guys, ne? Das hätte schon meinst du, was die Seite ist? Ja.
All I said,
Ich sollte
they must
anfangen,
really
erstmal die
be
Leute ausreden lassen,
enjoying
bevor ich
the sight
irgendwas
of us
abschieße.
standing around, frightened. They must be. We are all going to die. We are going to die, just like
Da. Nicht im dritten. Im dritten habe ich zuerst alle immer ausreden lassen. Da.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Da.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for
God.
herself.
So how did you
He
know,
did
Celeste?
not.
How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys?
Celeste könnte jetzt natürlich sagen, sie werden sterben, genau wie those guys könnte sie die bis jetzt Toten meinen, wie Mo. Sie könnte natürlich Mondo und die anderen meinen, oder? Just like, also rein theoretisch, natürlich, es macht keinen Sinn, aber rein theoretisch könnte sie sagen, sie hätte Hifumi, Mondo, Chihiro und all die anderen gemeint, die schon tot sind.
Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
Jetzt hat sie eine Schraube locker.
You all have such vivid
Das
imaginations.
Lachen verrat.
You know that?
Imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costume
Nein, es
villain
ist so easy
dragging
zu erklären,
Hifumi
aber
away?
nein, die sind alle viel zu dumm. Das hätten wir schon am Anfang des Falls sagen können.
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on. And then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
Sie hat 2 Tage Zeit, das zu machen.
Ja, aber du weißt nicht seine Maße. Wie bringt das so schnell?
Sie hat wahrscheinlich in den 2 Tagen irgendwann mal...
Da müsste ich schon mit Maßband umgehen und machen.
Hiro hat in einem vorherigen Fall gesagt, er war drin und hat sich einen Jumping Suit, einen Tracking Suit geholt. Und die einzigen, die einen Tracking Suit hatten, waren Mondo, Dingensbumsen und Chihiro. Also nicht alle hatten den Tracking Suit da drinnen. Und wenn dann welcher von der Größe fehlt, sie weiß, dass Mondo größer und breiter war als Hiro. Sie hätte es anhand von dem fehlenden Tracking Suit machen können.
Aber seine Frisur. Seine Frisur.
Danganronpa 3 Future Arc.
No.
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations. Wenn jetzt wieder Make Your Argument kommt, ne, für diese einfache Frage. If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, then only other possibilities are dancing. Hifumi saß Digga, dancing queen, young and sweet, Rara Rasputin.
A gun!
Tumblr
It's
mit
not a
Clips.
picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away.
Da hat er gesagt, ich am Schlafen, mein Gehirn, Dancing Queen, Young and Sweet, Rara Rasputin.
Und why though?
Weil sie den Ohrwurm von beiden Liedern dann hatte.
Oh.
I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility.
Oh mein Gott. Können wir diesen Fall bitte endlich
The
abschließen? Wir
one
wissen, dass sie
being
es war.
dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
Warum haben sie eigentlich Taka umgebracht und nicht gleich Hiro? Warum eigentlich dann auf Taka? Sie hätten Hiro umbringen können. Warum überhaupt Taka? Oh, wegen alter Ego, ne? Der hat doch gesagt, der war's, der hat ihn entführt. Und Taka hat gesagt, Hifumi hat ihn... Ah, Ja.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Wie hat er mit der gesamten Outfit in den Schrank gepasst?
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Jesus Christ! Sie ist die Erste, die so mit Kyoko spricht. Halleluja! Celeste thinks he can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible?
Keiner von denen...
Warum noch eine Runde?
Keiner von denen fällt es auf, dass sie plötzlich...
Robo Justice Blueprints, Robo Justice Costume, Yasuhiro's message.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Ich weiß es.
Then the fortune
Justice Costume stand up straight.
No way!
Genau. Right, Hina said she couldn't bend at the waist. The Beziehungsweise entweder Robos das straight oder das davor.
Then you just drape me across Hifumi and have you tried to make me look
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. It's the person inside the suit, but there's no way they could stand up straight.
No, that's wrong.
Warum habe ich plötzlich wieder 3 bekommen?
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious,
Ich rede
they
von
could
den
still
3
stand up
Make
like
Your
that.
Arguments. Von den 3 Truth Bullets. Das habe ich schon gesehen, ich habe jedes Mal ein halbes Herz mit dazu bekommen.
Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
Wir sind ja gleich fertig, ich kann es nicht nur noch um Stunden. Ja, oh ja, das haben wir, aber das haben wir schon. Wir wissen alle, wir können es
They
nicht biegen.
totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing.
Genau.
The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Ja.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Calm down, Kurumi. Calm down. Das ist Kurumi.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey, Hifumi, who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, I remember the name. Yasu. So. Warum sieht Hina so komisch aus?
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
Ja, 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 ja. Was redest du so gespielt hoch?
He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
Ja.
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Hagakure.
right. But my
Hat er
name
gesagt.
isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Warum ist dein echter Name eigentlich Taro?
Nein, das ist die Körperbüste das Pan.
Ja.
And burn you alive.
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
For serious. Ich hab den Namen immer gesagt. Na, ihr seid for real.
Our last names. He called us all by our last names.
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi
Ich meine,
did
war
mean to
höflich.
say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
Trotzdem, er war höflich. Er war höflich.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first
Ja, ich
name.
weiß.
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Don't talk.
Random chance.
Indecent?
Now, isn't
Don't
that
talk.
a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
Was denn? Ist ein elektronisches Device?
So Hifumi
You run
was
out of
trying
energy?
to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
Sie hat aber anfangs gesagt, mein Name ist Celeste Ludenberg. Ja, aber sie hat das als ihren echten Namen. Woher willst du wissen, dass das nicht ihr echter Name ist?
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you?
Ja.
Well, do I?
Ja.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
A little.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then you have to do something to make her accept. Wie oft denn noch? E-Handbook.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something.
Genau, wir müssen das E-Handbook
He
irgendwo.
wanted us to know the killer's last name. Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
Warum ist
How
das auf
long
dem
do you
Kopf?
plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth.
Dann zeig mir ein E-Handbook.
And since you have no way to come...
Ha! I knew it! Objection!
That was a contradiction right there.
That's it! The handbook!
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.